I'm here in Hawaii and Honolulu, here to meet Kahi and the Parley Ocean School. We're doing some work with them and talking about plastic pollution and plastic pollution that we'll see along the journey. And this is the Parley Ocean School, and this is the gentleman that I'm coming to see today, which is Kahi. He's also involved in the sustainable coastlines as well, so lots to talk about today, and all about education, conservation, sustainability and plastic pollution, and how we can be better for the planet, better for the oceans, and make less of a negative impact.
Yes.
And all about making a positive impact.
Yes, lekker bro.
Welcome. Glad to be here. Thanks very much, brother. We're here at the air station, which is one of the 2 air stations around the world. And thank you very much for coming and joining us, and tell us a little bit about where we are and why we're here.
Well, we're at the Parley Air Station, and the main reason we're here is to get people that are watching this video to understand what these Parley Air Stations are. And they're collaborative hubs. They're meant to bring the community together to co-create solutions around climate change with a plastic pollution focus. So here we're really working on the air strategy. That's why it's called the air station, and that's avoid, intercept, and redesign. So we do a lot of education around avoiding single-use plastics and plastics in general. We're intercepting, so we work with local groups here to intercept plastic pollution from getting back into the oceans. And then we're redesigning. We're taking material and we're upcycling it and creating things that can help raise awareness about plastic pollution.
And what do you see as the greatest challenge that you're facing specifically in Hawaii that might be different to anywhere else in the world, or is it the same challenge that everyone's facing globally?
Well, we definitely have our unique challenges, and I think that most importantly for Hawaii, our unique challenge is that the vast majority, say 90% of the debris that we have on our beaches, is not actually from us. This is debris that's from the industrialized fishing industry, also from other locations where their waste is just entering into the oceans from their rivers. Once it enters into the North Pacific Gyre, it has a very good chance of getting picked up by our currents and by the northeast trade winds and being delivered onto our coastlines. But we as locals are quick to point our fingers, yet we here are not consuming any better than they are. So what we're trying to do is get people to understand where this debris is coming from, and then also to realize before we can even point fingers, and we shouldn't at all, we should at least be doing it ourselves in a way that we can lead by example to show that you can live a plastic reduced and a plastic free lifestyle.
And what would you recommend for people out there if they want to make a difference, if they want to make less of a negative impact on the environment and be more proactive and better for the environment? What are sort of actions that people can take each and every day in some small way to be able to make a better impression in the world?
The simplest thing I can say is get out into the nature, and if you live by an ocean, get into the ocean and feel that connection. If you live inland, check out a river, or if you're in the mountains, get out into the forest. Like, we have to realize that the vast majority of the air that we're breathing, another reason we call this the air station, is actually derived from the ocean. 2 out of every 3 breaths we take comes from the ocean. You could live in the middle of Africa, you could live in the middle of the United States. 2 out of 3 breaths you're taking actually came from the ocean. So the health of the oceans is the health of humanity. So we need to realize that connection. So the best way to do that is to fall in love with nature. So I always suggest people just get out in nature and see how awesome it is, and realize how important it is to your survival and the survival of everybody that comes after us.
Go out there and have an adventure. If you have an adventure, that's when you're in nature, that's when you fall in love with it, want to protect it and respect it. And Parley does an incredible job, and we're going to put a whole lot of links in there of how people can get involved, follow them, and all the amazing work that we do. So thanks very much, Kahi.
All right, Chris.
Thanks very much, brother. I'm here at the Parley Air Station with Antonia from Parley. She's very involved in the education side and looking after the education side for Parley International and globally. And really nice to be able to be at one of the Parley Air Station Ocean Schools, one of 2 at the moment around the world. One's in South Africa, and this is the one in Hawaii at Oahu. So thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So this is the Parley Air Station. This is a collaborative hub for the oceans, where we want to bring in different people from the community through different lenses to really come together, raise awareness about the cause, take action for the cause, and also have a good time as we're doing this. It's a place that is open for anyone. Everyone is welcomed from any background, any culture, and it's free to come in, which is a huge factor in bringing down as many barriers as we can to education. And we get the opportunity to be here on Oahu at Bishop Museum, which we already get a lot of visitors that are open to learning into coming to the air station. So the air station is composed of 2 educational containers, a 40-foot container and a 20-foot container.
Show us around, show us around. Should we take a quick?
Yeah.
We're going to do a little all surround view. We're going to do a little tour. We've got some beautiful plants here. Everything obviously is very blue, which is around, all tailored around the ocean. And as you can see, they've got a whole lot of stuff about filtering a lot of plastic pollution, microplastics, filters. Tell us a little bit about that, Antonia.
Yeah. So Parley hosts cleanups in many locations around the world, and of course here in Hawaii we host them as well. And we realized that the first and foremost, this place is called the Air Station because of Parley's air strategy, which stands for avoid, intercept, and redesign. So if you can avoid plastic, that's the first strategy that we want to welcome people to think about and not use it in the first place. That's the best action that you can take. But if you can't avoid, let's make sure we intercept it so it doesn't reach the oceans. And lastly, redesigning our behavior in changing this culture of plastic, but also redesigning new materials that can replace plastic. The issue is so much plastic has been created already and it's not going anywhere. And plastic breaks up into smaller and smaller pieces of its original self because of the sun and wind and water wherever it reaches. So as we're doing cleanups, we're collecting all of this plastic, and we have another issue. What can we do with this plastic?
And how can we repurpose it?
How can we repurpose it? So we have our upcycling station here that is together with our collaborators, from Precious Plastic, and we pretty much get this type of debris in cleanups. You can see a lot of microplastic. This is very common here in Hawaii because of winds that come from the Pacific Giant hit mostly the east side of the islands, bringing in all types of debris, not only from Hawaii but actually from multiple places around the world. And you can see, you know, there are bottles with different types of writing that are not from here. We get a lot of buoys. And generally things that you can see that it was once a bottle but broken apart into smaller and smaller pieces. We get a lot of nets as
specifically floating fishing nets that have been left, and that's a lot of what traps a lot of the mammals, a lot of the whales and dolphins out there, and turtles especially.
Exactly, and sometimes super hard to be removed because they get close together and it gets really heavy, and all kinds of things get entangled, including marine life, which is the super sad part.
And Antonia, have you got a little machine that also helps repurpose a lot of the plastic? And I see you've got like the blocks here, there are some specialized compressed blocks there. Is that what a lot of the focus is when you're repurposing and redesigning?
Yeah, this is more an educational way, right? Because at the end of the day, we don't want this plastic to be reaching the coastlines. But what can we do with the plastic that has already reached there? So we get types 2 and 5 of plastic, and we wash the plastic, we shred it into small pieces in this machine. Pretty much we throw the plastic in here, shred it, and you can see that we have a lot of shredded plastic in there. And then we pretty much inject it into different types of machines. This is the injection mold. You can see we have some plastic in there already. Pretty much we're gonna bring this down. Plastic is gonna get really hot and it's gonna melt. And we have different types of
is that a mold?
Molds that we can create, and pretty much all you need is the right mold and you can create anything. So this is the carabiner mold. It's closed right now, but we have a brick mold, we have a sheet mold, and now we're very excited with these sheets because we can actually build really thick structures.
That's pretty cool.
And they look pretty as well.
Is that almost
this can
could
become
be used
a bench or a table or a
cutting board or Yeah.
I mean, you can really play around with what we can create. We're starting to create some hand planes to surf as well, cool. Wow. Which is awesome. And you know, the kids love these because they're like big Lego bricks.
Yeah, love that.
And you know, it's always a big success when we have them here. They start building things. But again, it's all about the molds. Depending on what mold you have, you can create all kinds of products out of it. So this was our first experiment. So we're here at the 20-foot container exhibit, and this is an artistic experience created with our collaborators from Coral Morphologic in Miami. And through beautiful visual imagery, they raise awareness for the importance of coral reef preservation. So come check it out.
Cool. And we're going in. Wow. Super powerful. And that gives you an idea of the magic that's out there when you open your eyes and you can see what's happening.
And it's really a way that, you know, you can raise awareness through so many formats, and art is such a powerful tool. So every time this Coral Morphologic was able to create this beautiful artistic imagery and that caught a lot of people's attention, and through that they are raising awareness for the cause of coral reef preservation. So art is a really, really amazing strategy and tool in activism. In all of these educational containers, air stations, we always want to celebrate a local artist by creating these types of ocean awareness murals. Again, art being a way to inspire people to take care of the oceans and to fall in love with the oceans.
Everybody knows that there's a massive pollution issue in regarding to plastic pollution. How can each individual be better and make less of a negative impact, and how can they make a more of a positive impact out there?
Yeah, I think the first thing is being open to learn and go out there, research, learn from different educators, learn from your friends, and see and come to your own conclusions as well. We want thinking minds in this world, right? And see, look around you in your house. What are the types of plastic that you're using in your household, in your day-to-day? Is there any way that you can avoid this plastic in the first place? Again, the AIR strategy, right? Avoid, intercept, redesign. The first strategy is to avoid. That's the best thing that you can do. And then also see what types of behavioral change that you can have. But at the end of the day, you know, look at the skills that you have. If you're an artist, you can generate awareness through your art. If you are, excuse me, in the legal space, you can create groups to go out there and get new laws that protect the environment. If you're an athlete, you can, you know, do your sport and get people to join you to run for the cause that, or run or walk or swim or sail, whatever. Yes. And generate awareness by this type of skill. So it's really looking at what skills you have, thinking about the community around you. How can you add to that community? How can you learn? How can you educate? How can you share and collaborate? And think of actions that we all can take. You don't have to be 100% an environmentalist working in the ocean sphere to take action. You can work in any area and still have a powerful impact in the ocean sphere space.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Antonia. I think that's a great summary, and thanks very much for your time, and keep up the amazing work that you do. Thank you. Marguerite Hopmeyer, I know you are the Director of Operations for the Sentinel Ocean Alliance. I'm really stoked and happy to have you here today. Thank you very much for being here. I know Marguerite is doing some incredible work with Frank Solomon, who's another big wave surfer and friend of mine that I've known for a while, who's the founder of the Ocean Alliance. And I know you guys have been doing some incredible work on ocean conservation, on ocean health, on upliftment of the community through your incredible journey and through the Parley Ocean School. And I wanted to just highlight you and what you guys are doing and the amazing work that you're doing in South Africa. So please give me a little bit of a summary of who you are, your background, and how you've been involved in the Sentinel Ocean Alliance. Thank you very much, Marguerite.
Thanks so much for having me, Chris. It's great to catch up. I know it's very early for you in the US, so yeah, it's good to see you, and we're very excited about your project. Like I mentioned, I'm the Director of Operations at Sentinel Ocean Alliance. We're an NGO based in Hout Bay, Cape Town. We're very lucky to have an amazing site right on the beach at the start of Chapman's Peak Drive. It's a very iconic spot in Cape Town. And we, a few years ago, around 3 or 4 years ago, Frank Solomon, who is the founder of Sentinel Ocean Alliance, he was a professional big wave surfer at the time, and he still is. But he realized that, you know, he's a local in Hout Bay, and he wanted to give back to his community. He wanted to give the opportunities that he had when he was young, you know, the love of the ocean that he developed, his life-saving skills, his ability to learn how to surf from an early age. He really wanted to give that back to the community. And that's when he set up Sentinel Ocean Alliance. It was firstly a development life-saving club, which also won the Sports Charity of the Year award in 2019. And since December 2020, we partnered with Parley for the Oceans. And we set up the world's first physical Parley Ocean School on our site in Hout Bay. So we started running our Ocean School program, and we also developed our own Turn the Tide Ocean Immersion and Learn to Swim program, which the two programs kind of go hand in hand there. That's it in a nutshell. And my background really is just I studied to be an environmental lawyer. I worked in that field for a few years. I then moved over to human rights law. And now I think I'm doing a combination of the two at Sentinel Ocean Alliance. So that's me.
Wow. Well, congratulations. I know you're doing some incredible work there. And I think, yeah, it's inspiring and it's super impactful. And I really do see and feel the upliftment in the community in that area, which has never really been, there's never been a lot of that in the past in Hout Bay. And it really, you know, it's incredible to see the impact. And obviously having Marika Musso, who's been involved in the Two Oceans of Graham, you know, she really speaks also very highly of the amazing work that you guys are doing. So keep it up.
Marika is a great friend, and yeah, she was very involved in the beginning in the setting up of our program, and she still is someone that I can call on at any time. You know, Marika, sending her WhatsApps, can you help me with this? And she's always ready with great advice. So yeah, we love her.
Marguerite, tell us a little bit about what you do at the Sentinel Ocean Alliance that's so different and so unique compared to many different schools or educational platforms out there. I think there are not a lot of people that are aware of what the Sentinel Ocean Alliance does and the impact that it makes.
Chris, you know what? I think there are actually some amazing organizations in Cape Town. I have to say, there are incredible other ocean-based NGOs, and we call ourselves an alliance because we love working with other groups and organizations as well. There's only so much you can do as one group with a small team. So it is important to us to also highlight all these other groups that we work with around Cape Town. But in terms of what we specifically focus on and what we think makes us unique is we started our ocean school, as I mentioned, in December 2020. When we first opened our doors, we were kind of still in the pilot phase program. So we had a few groups come in and we did a once-off talk that focused on marine plastic pollution, which is a very important issue to us. And also looking at, the problems and how this really affects the ocean and some of the solutions to that problem. But we realized, getting the kids in for a once-off talk, they see us for 40 minutes, we wave them goodbye, and we don't see them again. That's not going to create the behavior change that we really need. So we realized that we actually need to develop a very localized content and very localized curriculum and program for the kids who live in the underprivileged or under-resourced coastal communities of Hout Bay. Something that they can really relate to, and that when they leave us, they are going to be changed. Their behavior will be changed, and they will have different mindsets. So we now have a 16-week program. It's 2 semesters, so basically 4 months, the kids are with us. They come to us, and it's a very immersive and very engaging program. We have a wonderful educator, Kolofelo Setebe, who's a marine biologist, and she's just a joy to watch with the kids. She's full of life and very vivacious. And our program that we developed alongside with Parley, we firstly look at how we're all connected to the oceans, because, for a lot of these kids, they live near the ocean, but they're not connected to the ocean. They don't feel that connection. And also, why are the oceans important to all of us? For a child, you know, growing up in very difficult circumstances, why should the ocean be important to that child when they have to worry about so many other incredible harsh realities that we can't even imagine? So we try and teach them how we're all connected to the oceans, why the oceans are important. We show them the beautiful world below the water. We look at, you know, our local kelp forest ecosystem of the Great African Sea Forest. We go into some of the fascinating animals that you find there. And then once we kind of have them hooked, then we start focusing on the threats the oceans are facing. So we look at climate change, ocean dead zones, overfishing, and then we focus on marine plastic pollution. And we start talking about the Parley AIR strategy of avoiding plastic wherever possible, intercepting plastic waste before it enters the ocean, and redesigning not only the way we live, but also the product itself. There are better ways of packaging products than wrapping them in plastic, for example. So that's our Parley Ocean School. And then we have a Turn the Tide Ocean Immersion program, because I'm sure, as you know, Chris, you know, you can only protect what you love. And we can't ask these kids to start protecting the ocean if they don't have that strong connection with it. And that's what we try and do with our Turn the Tide Ocean Immersion program. We have coaches that we employ also from the local communities where the kids are from. And we actually teach them how to swim in the water, in the ocean, right in front of our ocean school. We realized that teaching the kids how to swim is very important also for our life-saving club. And there are no swimming pools in Hout Bay. There are no public swimming pools there. So their local body of water is the ocean. If they're ever going to go swimming, it will be in the ocean. And they're scared of the ocean. So we want to just, you know, it's always important to have a healthy respect for the ocean, but we want to remove any irrational fears that they might have and get them to see the ocean as a resource, a place where they can find joy, a place where they can come and be happy and just be kids. So we get them in the water, we teach them swimming, and it's also combined with a strong component of mindfulness. So we're teaching them how to connect with their breaths, how to calm their bodies down if they feel anxious, and they can do this wherever they are, at school, at home. And we're also focusing on some oceanography in our Turn the Tide program, how tides are formed, how the waves are formed, the currents, local safety regulations. So we're looking at that. That's more part of our Turn the Tide curriculum. And they really, really love it. And yeah, after 16 weeks, they do leave, you know, as changed kids.
That's amazing. And I know that you're 100% right. There are quite a couple of other NGOs doing some amazing work in similar space. And I know that, you know, you've got the Waves for Change team who I've done some work with. There's the 9 Miles Foundation that's also done some incredible work, Nigel and the team, and I've done some work with them too. But I think the thing that separates you and Frank and the team, what you guys do is really, it's also very much ocean conservation focused as well, and connecting in that space. And it sounds like working with the breath, you probably worked a little bit with Honey Princely, also another friend of mine. Yes. So yes, we are all connected. And I think this whole project that I'm working on is all about collaborating for success, because the whole project taps into the 17 SDGs, which is also a decade of action and a decade of collaborating towards the goal. So everything is very focused on ocean conservation, ocean health, climate change, taking action. And I think you guys are a great example of that. And what I feel is really, really powerful and really important in turning the tide on climate change is also about taking action and educating the youth, because the youth are the change of the future. You know, they're the future leaders. And if we don't change them, we're not going to see the change that we want to see in the world that's necessary in order to be able to turn the tide on climate change. So I guess that ties in nicely to sort of the second question, which is really about what do you feel that you notice from the Sentinel Ocean Alliance and the Parley Ocean School that you deliver from an educational perspective? Where do you see that making the biggest impact to the kids and into the community?
I think, you know, because one of our main focus points is marine plastic pollution, I can really see the difference in the kids when they, you know, when they, okay, so there are actually two important points here. One is access. which I think I'll focus on first. So access to the ocean, and teaching these kids that, you know what, this ocean is here for everybody, for you guys as well, and giving them the tools that they need, giving them swimming costumes, which they don't have, giving them swimming caps, which, you know, they need because the parents get cross if the girls come home with their wet braids. And, you know, it's important to give them that access to the ocean. So, and also part of our program is every Friday we have a guest speaker series. So we have people from all different walks of life in the ocean space, from marine biologists to free divers to underwater photographers to volunteers from the NSRI. And they come and talk to the kids about, you know, their career path and how they found themselves drawn to the ocean and working for the ocean. And most of these people also come from the same communities that our students come from. So in that sense, you know, these kids, they come to us, and in the beginning we do a bit of a survey and we ask them, you know, what would you like to be one day when you grow up? Most of them either say soccer player or they say coaches, because Hout Bay unfortunately has a very big coaching community. And when they leave after the 16 weeks, their horizons have been broadened. They'll say, well, I can become a marine biologist. If Loyiso can be a marine biologist, I can be a marine biologist. Or if Shamir can be a free diver, I can be a free diver. And so giving them that access and showing them that they really don't need to be any boundaries, and they can, you know, their lives can take that direction. I think that's a really important component of our program. And also with regards to the marine plastic pollution, many of these children, when they first start coming to us, you know, they'll come to our site with their little lollipops on their sticks and the plastic wraps, and they'll put it in their mouths and they'll just drop the plastic on the floor next to the bin. At the end of the 16-week program, they are each picking up, you know, we have a little saying, we say, take 3 for the sea. So every single time they go onto the beach, we remove 3 pieces of plastic at least, and we put it in a bin. So towards the end of the 16-week program, we don't have to ask them to do that anymore. It just comes naturally. And we hope that they go back home and they talk to their parents and they talk to their communities about what they've learned at the Parley Ocean School. But we also, for example, we've got their graduation happening for this current group of kids in about 2 weeks. And we're doing the big graduation ceremony for them in their community of Imizamuyetu. And we're getting all the parents to come, and we're going to, you know, the kids are going to actually tell their parents what they've learned. So they're going to do a little bit of a presentation on most of the important things that they've learned at the Parley Ocean School. And also we're going to do a bit of a safety demonstration for water safety with the parents as well. So that's how we try and get into the community. And we do lots of school talks. We go and talk to all different schools in Hout Bay and community groups. So we try and get our message out as much as possible.
Yeah, great. I know that, you know, that's where a lot of your focus comes in, which ties in really nicely to the project. And what I'm doing is really around ocean health and inspiring kids to believe in what's possible. And that's a lot of the reason why I do what I do, to cross oceans and do things that no one's ever done before, to make people broaden their horizons about what is possible. If this person can do that, maybe I can do this, or I can do that. It's really just almost like a catalyst for positive change, and a catalyst for, you know, thinking bigger, dreaming bigger, and then also taking action to be able to go out and do something. And the whole project that I'm working on, there's a lot of focus on the plastic pollution side, hence the reason why Parley is involved. And there's a whole theme really focused on how we can all take action each and every day, whether it be 3 for the sea, or organizing a beach cleanup, or getting involved in a beach cleanup, or participating with some charity work. There's so many ways that we can all make a difference. And I think that sort of leads into, you know, the solution-driven thinking, which is how do we be better each and every day in some small way to give back, lift other people up, whether it be in disadvantaged communities or in regarding to ocean health, to make a difference. And what little small actions can we take daily that really make a big impact? What would be your advice to everyone out there, not just the youth, but to also, you know, people in businesses too?
Yeah, So, I mean, I think, you know, our team at Sentinel Ocean Alliance and with Parley, we really live by the Parley AIR strategy, which I've quickly glossed over earlier. But AIR, AIR stands for A, avoid single-use plastic wherever possible. It's very difficult to completely remove plastic from our environment. Obviously, in an ideal world, we would advocate for that. But, you know, just start by avoiding single-use plastic. Take the reusable water bottle, buy the reusable coffee cup. Say no to, you don't need a lid on your coffee cup. You know, we're not toddlers. We don't need a sippy cup. we can have it without the lid. Obviously, plastic water bottles, avoid wherever you can. So just avoiding that single-use plastic will already make such a big difference. And then intercepting plastic waste before it reaches the ocean. So come, you know, find a local organization near where you live, join beach cleanups where, you know, wherever they're happening. If you live inland, join a river cleanup, because, you know, rivers lead to the ocean. And it's, you know, for us, beach cleanups are very much in a way, they're not the ultimate solution to the problem, because if we are not doing everything we can to educate people about the plastic pollution problem, we're just going to be intercepting and picking up plastic waste on beaches forever and ever. But it is an important awareness creating tool, because if you're on that beach and you're picking up, you know, a toothbrush, or you're picking up a chip packet, then you can see what's happening. This is, I'm part of this problem. My consumer choices are ending up on the beach here. So it's to be mindful of those choices that you make. And like I say, so join a beach cleanup. We have beach cleanups happening every month or 2 months. We've got one happening, World Oceans Month is coming up in June. So we have a beach cleanup happening on World Oceans Day, the 4th of June, from our site, I think at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So if anyone is around in Hout Bay and want to pitch in, please do join us. And then it's, the R is for redesign, and that is for redesigning the way we live and redesigning the material itself. And that's where Parley and Adidas, for example, have got such an amazing collaboration, because, you know, they're making these incredible products from plastic waste collected on the ocean. So, you know, looking at other options, maybe, and also just redesigning where we live. It's hard sometimes to make these choices. It's not easy. But at the end of the day, what is more important? It's you know, the health of our planet is at stake. Go ahead.
I totally agree with you, Margarita. I think, you know, redesign also, I mean, I love the AIR strategy, and I've spoken to obviously Kahi and Antonia about that as well. And it is really important. I think you can also look at the redesign as in redesign the way you make buying decisions, the way you make choices each and every day. Collaborating with, you know, like-minded people, businesses, but also, you know, looking at repurposing as well, and reusing a lot of the items that would be considered to be single use. If you can avoid single use, avoid it. Otherwise, repurpose it, reuse it, recycle it. And I know that it's really important to think of the longevity of a lot of the products that you buy. So it's not just a one-time purchase and it gets thrown away after it gets used. You know, there's a lot of time, like fix, you know, your clothing. You know, you don't have to buy new items all the time. Just reuse, repurpose, and also pass it on, pay it forward. And I think that's a big part of how we collaborate for success and how we become better as human beings.
And I think as a consumer, we are actually a lot more powerful than we think we are. You know, if we just start expecting brands to, you know, to take responsibility and to design better products, then they will have to step up. We have a lot of power as consumers that we often, you know, forget about. So I think we need to use that a bit more. And then, you know, the other thing is another thing that people can do to help. There's so many amazing organizations in this country, you know, just in this little area where we live that I know of. And, you know, people often think, oh, I want to help, but I'm not in the ocean space. I don't know how to help. There's so many different ways to contribute, whether it's sharing an Instagram post, or whether it's, you know, if your skill is in if you know someone who might be connected, just connecting people, whether it's, you know, coming to drop towels or for our kids, whether it's, you know, if you're good at accounting, you know, you can volunteer your specific skills at so many different organizations on so many different levels. There's so much work that goes into running NGOs. So there's no one that doesn't have something to give. So, you know, I would encourage people to find something that they feel passionate about and that they think that they want to help contribute to, and do that.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. And I think that sort of leads into wrapping things up. Marguerite, it's just really, you know, what I call the power of the start. Like, just start, just take action, take one step.
Exactly.
Like, just make that phone call to find out how you can assist. Make that phone call to see how you can connect another person to be able to help and make a difference. Have the ability to be able to just start a beach cleanup, or start picking up plastic on your own local beach, or start making better buying choices every time you go to the supermarket. You know, everything goes down to, don't think about it too much, just start, just take action. And that's really what this whole project is about for me and for these Ocean in Motion sessions. It's about taking action, because if we all collectively take small steps, those collective steps all add up to become a massive difference and a massive impact and the change that we want to see each and every day in the world. And I think the power of small collective actions on a massive scale changes the world. So I think you guys are doing some incredible work on your side, and I'd like to really highlight where people can find what you do out there. So please let me know, let the viewers know here where they can find you from all the different social media tags and websites and stuff. And maybe one last bit of words of wisdom of how we can all be better as humans, for ourselves, for the planet, and for our oceans.
Yeah. So thanks so much for that, Chris. I really appreciate it. And it's so funny. I think all you like big wave surfers have got so much in common, because, you know, what you're saying about just get started, that's exactly what Frank's motto always was with Sentinel Ocean Alliance. He didn't really wait for all the cards to fall in his favor. He just saw an opportunity and just decided, I'm just going to get started. And, you know, and after a few years, it's quite amazing what happens if you just have that vision and you just, you know, you're there every day and you just make that decision. You're going to do this. So it must be something, a big wave surfer thing that you have in common. But we can be found at sentineloceanalliance.org is our website address. We're on Instagram and Facebook at Sentinel Ocean.
Fantastic. And yeah, thank you very much for all the amazing work that you do, Marguerite, and Frank for all the work that he's put into starting it up and really getting it going and getting the impact that you guys are making. I see it in the community and all the amazing little kids that you see so happy and singing and learning and being impacted and changed literally for life, and giving them new career opportunities, and also I think an expanded proactive mindset in regarding to what's possible out there for them. And I think that's more valuable than anything else, over and above obviously the mindfulness in regarding to ocean health and ocean safety. So thank you very much. Any last words of wisdom that you want to leave us with today?
I think, you know, with World Oceans Month coming up, then the last thing I would just like to say is that everyone remembers that every second breath we take is generated by the ocean. So, you know, without the ocean, there is no life. So we need to do everything we can to try and protect this amazing resource that we have.
We need nature. Nature doesn't need us. So we need to make people fall in love with it, respect it, so we can all protect it. Marguerite, thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate it. Thanks very much.